On my recent trip to Japan, we went to 4 cities: Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, and Okinawa. I know Okinawa is not a city, it's a whole island, but we're just gonna say Okinawa. I went to 22 video game stores, 9 book offs, 3 Nintendo stores, 3 Pokemon stores, 2 manga salkos, 1 bookstore, and 3 other great video game stores. We did all of this in 14 days. I drank way too many drinks. We also went to Disneyland Tokyo, but this is about everything else we did. I just want to make sure I got everything I filmed into some sort of form so that I can remember it later for the next time I go to Japan. First things first, let's talk about the Shinkansen, which is also known commonly as the bullet train. We took the train from Tokyo to Osaka, 1 because it was an easy way to do it, and 2 mainly because we wanted to see Mount Fuji on the way there. I'm super glad it was very clear that day because Mount Fuji looked absolutely beautiful and breathtaking. As soon as you've gone through the ticket counter, there's more than enough places to grab lunch. I'd suggest grabbing it because, a Shinkansen from Tokyo all the way to Osaka is going to be roughly somewhere between like 2 and 3 hours. And it's a great opportunity if you're just sitting around to eat some lunch. I saw this cute bento box that was shaped like a train, so I got it for my kid. I had him help me open it, but unfortunately for me, it opened from the bottom. Oh no. At the time, it was a big tragedy, but now looking back at this footage, that was actually quite funny. After arriving in Osaka, I decided to go to a local grocery store to pick up some stuff for my kid. And on the way there, they had a 100 yen drink vending machine. This was great. I always like trying new things, and for 100 yen, it couldn't hurt. I like that this was generically called orange, and it tasted a lot like Tang. The funny thing about Japan is the things that are most memorable to me are the things that are actually most boring, and they're very hard to describe. I just like walking down the street. I liked seeing vending machines that were 100 yen, and I like to see what people are doing on a day-to-day. The name of this grocery store is Super Tamade, which loosely translates to Super Balls Out. That's a hilarious name for a grocery store, but it's named that because it vaguely has a pachinko theme. There's a whole bunch of these grocery stores in the greater Osaka area. My general goal while shopping here was to get things that my kid would like and things that would keep us healthy while we were traveling all over the place. I think this is vitamin C. These grocery prices for American standards are really cheap, but I'm pretty certain for even Japanese standards, these are still pretty cheap groceries. You might know Calorie Mate from Metal Gear Solid 3, but yeah, here it is here too. Well, that's enough grocery shopping for now. I might as well get another drink on the way home. I don't know anything about these drinks here, so I'm just going to pick up this one because it has a peach on it. I don't know why, but Japan has a lot of yogurt-based drinks, so this is like a yogurt peach drink. It's weird. I'm not going to lie, most of what I know about Osaka comes from Persona 5 Strikers and a YouTuber named Ryan. From what I gather, they're known for their neon lights and their street food. Another fun fact, tourists love to pose in front of this guy over here. He's a marathon runner. A lot of people just refer to him by the name Glico Man. Overall, I really liked Osaka, but if I'm going to be completely honest, I probably should have spent more time planning activities while I was there. I have no good advice to give you about what you should go and see, but what I will say is you could spend like an entire day or even a couple of days just like walking and roaming the streets here. It's beautiful, it's interesting, there's tons of neon lights, and yeah, it's a good place to look at stuff. We're out here in Osaka, next to that running guy, out here with my family, doing family things. This trip was for me, but it was also very much for my family. I'm really glad that they had a fun time while we were here, and it was just really neat to see all the stuff that I've seen in video games and Japanese pop culture and, just other things as well. Look at this giant crab. Look at it. This used to be like a famous mascot / clown for a restaurant. Now he's just an Osaka thing. Osaka has a lot of street food, and we finally settled on some takoyaki, which are these like squid balls with like different sauces and some mayonnaise and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, this is not for the squeamish, but overall they're pretty okay. If you're running around for a while and you can't find a bathroom, you can just go into this Edon. It's kind of like a Best Buy, but they have restrooms here, and it's a great place to stop if your kid needs to go. They had a whole bunch of amiibos here, but they also had a bunch of amiibos at the Nintendo store. I was a little bummed that I never ended up picking this up while I was in Japan, and I still need this amiibo. I'm throwing this out there, the ASMR of street sounds is amazing, and there were also gachapon machines everywhere. My kid totally fell in love with these. After wandering around for a while, we finally found a restaurant that we didn't need a reservation for. It was called Tapan Ginja. It was a pretty simple setup. You just put the number of things you wanted on this little piece of paper here based on the previous menus. I mostly read from the English menu, but I also used Google Translate for some of the Japanese menu. We started off with a little edamame, then we had a little quail egg with bacon, I believe, had some light and refreshing pickled cucumbers, then we rounded it out with some steak skewers, had some noodle stir fry with some fish flakes on top, and I gotta say this, everything just tasted good, so I'm not giving you reviews here because it was all good. This was some sort of fish with fish eggs on top, and we ended it all with a little pork fried rice. It was delicious, a great meal. I don't typically drink coffee. I've just never really been a coffee guy. But first off, this was adorable. Look at this tiny cream, and that other thing was a tiny sugar. And you know what? I can drink iced coffee. But the main reason I did this was because we are at a coffee shop for breakfast that kind of specializes in some of those fluffy pancakes. A lot of places don't open that early for breakfast, but this one opened at like 8 because it was in a train station. I got some of those fluffy pancakes for my son, and yeah, he liked them. But there were a lot of leftovers, so I got a bite or two myself. We were walking around Kyoto and then we found this shop called Kittyland. We stopped for my kid because we thought he could find something here. But I found Shmiski and I really like them. And there were a whole bunch of other collectibles there as well. It's kind of funny. He didn't want anything from a blind box, but we did end up getting him something from another gachapon machine later. The older parts of Kyoto were really touristy, but they were also very interesting to walk around. It felt like old-timey Japan, but it also kind of felt like colonial Williamsburg. This is just another instance of where a little bit more planning might have gone a long way. You can do things like tea ceremonies and that sort of thing here, but we ended up just kind of like walking around and just looking at stuff, which is also totally fine. We had a blast doing that. While we were in Kyoto though, something happened that almost ruined our entire trip. While we were at the Pokemon Center, my wife lost her cell phone. It wasn't gone for more than 5 minutes, but we checked Find My and it already moved to somebody's hotel. When you're traveling internationally, your cell phone is your lifeline, so we ended up going to a book off and just picking up the cheapest iPhone that would still also take decent pictures. We wrote it off as lost and went all the way back from Kyoto to Osaka. Funny thing is, we noticed that the next day, the cell phone was actually in a Kyoto police station. I called my mom, who did a 3-way call with the police station, and we roughly translated it out to the cell phone being there. I took the bullet train back to Kyoto, and it only cost me about $10 this time. I noticed this ad about this lady who makes these funny finger puppets. I thought I'd take public transportation all the way to the police station. However, I got on the bus that was going the opposite way of the way I needed to go. I got off the bus at a 7-Eleven, where I took an Uber to the police station and used my very limited Japanese skills to get the phone back. I had to head back to Osaka, but not before I got a Miracle Body V from this vending machine right here. Tasted like an energy drink with questionable additives. Took a taxi to a train station where a bunch of students were performing something. Something must have been going on because this guy was arting. Went through the train station, was still a little thirsty, so I got an ion water. I was cutting it pretty close because my train had just arrived as the ion water head came out, but just walked on over to the train and took it right on over to Osaka. By the way, Pocari Sweat, if you ever want to sponsor me, I am all about it. If you plan on losing anything anywhere in the world, I'd say lose it in Japan. It is the safest place to lose something because people turn things in, and I'm amazed that we got this iPhone back. It was a huge blessing, and I know I'm lucky to have found it. I also wanted to give a brief overview of where we stayed and how it was. The first place we stayed was in a hotel in Tokyo. It was called Shibuya Park Hotel. Totally forgot to take footage of this place, but here's some snapshots from their website. It looks pretty much like this, but you know, obviously these angles are the best possible angles. This was larger than a New York hotel, but definitely smaller than your standard American hotel. It was in a very sleepy neighborhood. The second place we stayed was in Osaka. It was an Airbnb in a very traditional Japanese setting. I'm really glad we did this because it allowed us as a family to spread out a little bit and chill and relax, but also is very comfortable for me. I had a fun time here, and if you're in Osaka, you should definitely check out this Airbnb. This footage is chaotic because it's very I forgot to film anything and we're leaving. This last place we booked, we also booked through Airbnb, but it was a hotel slash condo slash inn type thing. One, they had a hot tub. 2, it was absolutely enormous. 3, 100% if we come back here to Okinawa, we will stay here again. 4, something to keep in mind, This place is not very accessible without a car, so if you are going to stay here, definitely get a car. 5, you can fit so many people in here. Like, we fit our small family in here, no problem, but at the same time I was like, man, I could have had my dad stay here, I could have had my sister-in-law and brother stay here, I could have had their kids stay here, we could have had like my entire family stay here, and extended family, no problem. This place was enormous, it had 3 bathrooms. I just can't say enough good things about this spot. But yeah, if you're in Okinawa, you should definitely think about staying here. It's enormous. We went to Tokyo around the time that the cherry blossoms were blooming in Japan. It was a great time to go. We specifically went to Shinjuku-Goen National Park. And one of the main reasons we went was because there was this Starbucks there, and my wife's a big fan of Starbucks. Now, one of the fun things about this particular Starbucks is they had cherry blossom themed things, which is something that you can get in a lot of Japan around this time of year. But they also had specific drinks that were known to this location, as well as different things that you could buy, souvenirs and cups that were located in this place and the rest of Japan. I'm not a huge coffee drinker, so I got this cherry tea stuff that had some jelly in it. It was pretty good. We also had a pretty good view of the cherry blossoms as well. I also got this delicious piece of cherry cake. It also had a little cherry blossom on top, and let me just tell you this thing was light, fluffy, delicious. 10 out of 10 dessert. And this isn't just a 10 out of 10 for Starbucks. This is just a very, very good dessert. Maybe if I were to compare it to every single dessert that's ever existed, it might be like an 8, you know, but like I've only tried so many things. Delicious. This thing had jellies in it, so it was a little bit more jello and a little less boba with like tapioca. And look at this bird. Look at him. He's just chilling out, and I could get really close to him. And I just wanted to show everybody this bird. Okay. I got my kid a donut too. He really likes donuts, so everybody had a great time. We also went to Harajuku, but I've been to Harajuku before, but let me tell you what we did in Harajuku. Harajuku is the center of Japanese youth fashion and culture. Nowadays it's pretty touristy, but so is pretty much every one of these types of places all around the world. Think Piccadilly Circus or Soho, or maybe the Grove or Rodeo Drive. There's a lot of cool places where people go to get cool things, and if you're a tourist and you just want to kind of have a sliver of that without going deep into thrifting or small little places here and there, this is a great place to get a base. Do you like Capcom and capsule toys? Well, welcome to the Capsule Lab in Harajuku. Let's load up on some yen and get some toys. My kid loves gachapon, so he really just came here so that he could get whatever he wanted. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I love gachapon as well, but I did not want to lead the witness. He picked out whatever he wanted. First thing he got was Kanikuman, which are just like little wrestlers. And then the second thing he got was Power Rangers. He loves Power Rangers. He developed some choice paralysis, but eventually pulled through. He really enjoyed walking around, so he ended up picking this thing, which was super weird. It's like a little wait stop sign thing. Yummy, yummy, we've got strawberries in my tummy. There's always a number of fad foods while we're in Japan, and this time they had these strawberries with sugar on them. I also got mine with grapes, which was great. Good. They're actually a Chinese treat called tengula, but yeah, they're fun, they're easy to make, and surprisingly refreshing and good. My wife got green grapes. She liked them. It'd been a long day, so we decided to take a cab all the way over to Shibuya. Shibuya Crossing is one of the most trafficked places when it comes to people walking around. It's a lot like Times Square, but for some reason not as awful. And I'm allowed to make fun of Times Square because I worked there for a number of years as a creepy Elmo. Just kidding. I worked in media. Anyways, if you're in Japan and you are in the general area of this, you have to like walk through it at least once. It's like being in New York and never going to Times Square. You don't want to be in Times Square, but you gotta walk through Times Square at least once so that you can say, hey, I saw the city lights. It was wonderful. I saw a Coca-Cola sign. I'm not even sure what that accent was supposed to be. But anyways, make the cross on the crossing and then just walk around. There's a lot of cool stuff around here. Hey, look, some of those Mario Kart people that dress in Mario Kart stuff. Make certain to take a picture with the world's most loyal dog and then get out of there. Our trip to Japan was split into 2 different parts, 1 mainland Japan and 2 Okinawa. So we actually carried 2 extra suitcases to be shipped directly to Okinawa using this service. It was a little bit hard to navigate, but overall we made it work. I really enjoy going to the grocery store, and I got to go with my mom and aunt while we were in Okinawa. I don't really have a full story here. I just bought a bunch of drinks and then I drank them all throughout the rest of my time in Okinawa. It says it's a triple cider, but this drink definitely tasted like another yogurt drink. Okinawa was a ton of fun and I'm glad I had some time there. But these were all the extra little short stories that I couldn't fit into any other video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this excursion, but we're going to get back into game hunting in the United States very soon.